Every digital device you interact with, from your smartphone to supercomputers powering artificial intelligence, relies on a tiny, intricate piece of technology, the microchip. These chips are the building blocks of our modern world, and their continued advancement dictates the pace of technological progress. But the ability to produce these chips is not evenly distributed, nor is it easily achieved. In fact, the future of our digital existence, the very trajectory of human innovation, rests disproportionately on the shoulders of one obscure Dutch company, ASML. This investigation will uncover how ASML came to wield such immense power. ASML's story began modestly in 1984, spun out from Philips in a small office in Veldhoven, Netherlands. At a time when Japanese companies dominated the semiconductor equipment market, ASML was a long shot. Yet, through decades of relentless innovation and strategic partnerships, they carved out a niche. Their focus, lithography, the process of printing incredibly small patterns onto silicon wafers. This niche would prove to be the most critical, and most challenging, bottleneck in chip manufacturing, setting the stage for their unprecedented dominance in the 21st century. For decades, the semiconductor industry has chased Moore's law, doubling the number of transistors on a chip roughly every 2 years. This miniaturization requires ever finer details to be etched onto silicon. The challenge intensifies at scales measured in nanometers, a billionth of a meter. Traditional deep ultraviolet (DUV) lithography pushed the limits, but physics dictated a new path was needed to continue shrinking features beyond 20 nanometers. This technical wall threatened to halt progress until extreme ultraviolet, or EUV, emerged as the only viable solution. EUV lithography isn't just an improvement, it's a paradigm shift. Instead of DUV light with a wavelength of 193 nanometers, EUV uses light with a wavelength of just 13.5 nanometers. This incredibly short wavelength allows for the etching of features as small as 2 nanometers, enabling today's most advanced processors. The concept of using such extreme light was revolutionary, yet its implementation proved to be one of the most complex engineering feats in human history, requiring entirely new sciences and technologies to even begin to function. Generating EUV light is the first monumental hurdle. It's not created with a simple lamp. Instead, a droplet of molten tin, roughly the size of a human hair, is fired into a vacuum chamber. This droplet is then hit twice by a high-power CO2 laser, vaporizing it into a plasma that emits 13.5 nanometer light. This process must occur 50,000 times per second, with each tin droplet precisely targeted, all within an environment that prevents contamination. It's an astronomical challenge, pushing the boundaries of laser and material science. Once generated, EUV light cannot be transmitted through lenses, as it would be absorbed. Instead, it must be reflected using a series of exquisitely polished mirrors. These mirrors, supplied by the German optical giant Zeiss, are arguably the most perfect man-made objects. Each mirror is polished with atomic precision, meaning any imperfection larger than the diameter of an atom would render it useless. A single mirror system inside an ASML EUV machine can cost over $100 million and take years to manufacture and perfect. This level of precision is virtually unmatched. To prevent the EUV light from being absorbed by air, the entire lithography process occurs in an ultra-high vacuum, a vacuum so profound it mimics outer space. Furthermore, the silicon wafer, moving at incredible speeds to be exposed to the EUV light, must be positioned with nanometer accuracy. This requires an active magnetic levitation system that compensates for even the slightest vibration, preventing defects. The wafer stage travels faster than a commercial airliner, yet its positioning tolerance is equivalent to landing a jet on a specific grain of sand from orbit. This engineering is mind-boggling. These intricate systems, from the laser-driven plasma source to the atomic-level mirrors and the ultra-precise vacuum stages, are integrated into a single machine. Each ASML EUV machine costs between $150 and $200 million, weighs 180 tons, and requires 40 freight containers to ship. Only ASML, through decades of R&D and collaboration with partners like Zeiss and Cymer, has mastered this colossal engineering challenge. This isn't just a technological lead, it's a monopoly built on a scale of investment and expertise that no other company has replicated or even approached. This technological singularity means that virtually every leading-edge semiconductor manufacturer in the world relies entirely on ASML for their most advanced chips. Companies like Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, Samsung Electronics, and Intel Corporation, giants that collectively produce the vast majority of advanced processors for everything from iPhones to AI accelerators, are ASML's primary customers. Without ASML's EUV machines, these companies simply cannot produce chips at the 7-nanometer scale and beyond, halting their ability to innovate and compete. The path to ASML's monopoly was paved with astronomical investment and decades of patient, collaborative R&D. Industry estimates suggest that developing EUV technology required over 2 decades and expenditures exceeding $20 billion, primarily shouldered by ASML and its strategic partners. This immense financial and intellectual capital, combined with a vast ecosystem of patented technologies, creates an insurmountable barrier to entry for any potential competitor. No single nation or company, regardless of ambition, can simply catch up or replicate ASML's unique capabilities within a meaningful timeframe. ASML's unique position has inevitably thrust it into the heart of a high-stakes geopolitical struggle, particularly the US-China trade war. As advanced semiconductors became central to national security, economic dominance, and the future of AI, control over their production became paramount. The United States, aiming to curb China's technological ambitions and maintain its own competitive edge, identified ASML's EUV machines as a critical choke point. This placed the Dutch company in an unenviable position, caught between economic opportunity and international pressure. Beginning in 2019, the U.S. government exerted significant diplomatic pressure on the Netherlands to restrict ASML from selling its cutting-edge EUV machines to China. Citing national security concerns, Washington argued that allowing China access to such technology would enable it to develop advanced military capabilities and challenge Western technological supremacy. Despite the immense financial incentives for ASML to sell to the vast Chinese market, the Dutch government, a key NATO ally, ultimately yielded to U.S. pressure. This decision effectively cut off China's path to domestically producing the most advanced chips. The U.S.-imposed restrictions, channeled through the Dutch government, have left China in a critical bind. While Chinese chip manufacturers can still purchase ASML's older DUV lithography machines, these are insufficient for producing the most advanced 7-nanometer and 5-nanometer chips. Beijing has poured billions into its domestic semiconductor industry, aiming for self-sufficiency. However, the absence of EUV technology means its most ambitious chip fabrication plants, like SMIC, remain reliant on older processes, or entirely dependent on foreign foundries for cutting-edge designs. This bottleneck significantly hampers China's tech aspirations. ASML's monopoly has profound implications for the global economy. Countries without access to advanced lithography technology are inherently disadvantaged in the race for digital innovation. The cost of ASML machines and the sophisticated infrastructure required to operate them further widen the gap between technologically advanced nations and the rest of the world. Moreover, the inherent vulnerability of relying on a single company for such a crucial component introduces systemic risks to the entire global supply chain. Any disruption to ASML's operations could send shockwaves across countless industries. Perhaps the most critical dimension of ASML's influence lies in its direct impact on the AI revolution. Artificial intelligence models, from large language models to advanced image recognition, demand immense computational power. This power is delivered by specialized AI chips, like those developed by NVIDIA or Google's TPUs, which are themselves manufactured using ASML's EUV technology. Without the continuous ability to shrink transistors and increase chip density, the processing capabilities required for next-generation AI could hit a physical wall. ASML, therefore, indirectly dictates the pace and potential of artificial intelligence globally. Looking ahead, ASML's position appears unassailable. While competitors like Canon and Nikon continue to produce DUV machines, they are far from developing viable EUV alternatives. The next generation of lithography, High-NA EUV, is already under development at ASML,
promising even finer resolution and further extending Moore's law.
This means the world's reliance on Veldhoven, Netherlands, is only set to deepen. The future of quantum computing, advanced materials, and even space exploration, all predicated on computational power, will continue to flow through ASML's highly specialized machines.
In an increasingly interconnected and digitally driven world, ASML remains an unseen architect of our collective future.
From the algorithms that power social media to the breakthroughs in medical research enabled by AI, its technology forms the bedrock. The company is not merely selling equipment, it is selling the very capability to advance. Its monopoly is not accidental, but the culmination of extraordinary engineering and strategic vision. This singular company, born in a small Dutch town, truly holds the keys to who innovates, who competes, and ultimately, who controls the human future.